What's up, everyone? My name is Sam. Thanks so much for joining my YouTube channel today. Today's Hatha Yoga beginner's level practice will be in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day. That's Monday, October 13th here in the States. I am not an Indigenous person, so I am leading this practice from a position of allyship. I would encourage you, if you want to be an ally for Indigenous liberation and ongoing struggles, including those toward land back movements, to visit the website native-land.ca and check out whose Indigenous lands you are practicing from this Indigenous Peoples Day or week. With that being said, we'll be focused on earthly mantras, mantras that connect us more with nature and the universe in honor of the stewardship and beautiful connection that Indigenous peoples incorporate into their culture and spiritual practice. When you're ready to get started, we are going to start in an extended child's pose, or just a regular child's pose if that's more accessible to you, and I will meet you in the middle of your mat. Okay, so we'll come to the mat in extended child's pose, or just traditional child's pose if you really prefer that to drop in. And we'll begin with a little meditation. Feel free to incorporate a mantra here if you need that to frame your practice. I'm bringing my chest down toward the mat, forehead on the mat, or on a block if that's more accessible to you. Full extension at the elbows, pressing into all 10 fingertips. Right away, start to connect with the breath. Connect with the mat. Feel supported by the earth here. Start to ground down through the earth. Feel the connections of the physical body to the earth. Start to check in with the breath. And maybe with the physical body, intellectual body, emotional body, and spiritual body. Just taking inventory today. Looking holistically at how we're doing. You might start to frame this practice with a mantra, which could be something like, I am nature, not separate from it. Or, I am responsible for stewardship of the land and my body. Thinking about the connections between yourself and nature, yourself and the universe, as a community, as oneness. Just remembering that you are not separate from the earth or its inhabitants, including non-human persons. Maybe just honoring your responsibility in that as a conscious being. Not only to be a steward of the land, protector of nature, but also to proactively look at your own well-being, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind. Continue deepening your breath. Maybe imagine surrendering to the oneness of the universe, to the wholeness of the ecosystem, your place in it. Kind of in this position of worship. Head down, heart down to the earth. maybe finding stillness. Maybe just rocking the forehead gently left to right, massaging through sinus cavity, the third eye. Maybe just relaxing into the earth. Starting to create this little bubble of self-care for yourself. Not from a place of individualism, but from a place of collective responsibility and connection. Let's take a few more cycles of breath just to turn inward and reflect. Reminding yourself that this is a safe space and that you are in control of your practice. When you feel ready to incorporate movement into this meditation, you might do so by first bringing the mind's eye back to the fingertips, noticing those 10 points of connection to the earth. Maybe pressing into the fingertips to lift the hands and then the forearms from the mat. Gently opening the eyes if they're closed and maybe lifting the forehead. Before we move up to sitting, let's just walk the hands over to the left. Checking in with your range of motion there, melting down somewhere over or near that left knee. Nice and passive, nice and gentle. Sort of like a seed waking up in the springtime. Stay grounded, and we'll gently press into the fingertips again to walk the hands slowly to the right side. Move really slow, really mindfully. Nature doesn't rush. Melting down the head and heart space, somewhere near that right knee. Take your time here just to notice the sensations of the body. Notice the lines of energy through the body and where they are. And let's press into the fingertips to lift the forehead one more time. Just walk the hands back through center. And then as slow as you can go, we'll slowly bring one palm closer to the body than the other. Curling up through the spine, keeping the hips planted on the heels, noticing what you feel through the back body or anywhere else. And when you bring your hands close to your torso, close to your hips, curl up through the spine to check in with your posture here. Maybe rolling the shoulders back, tucking the chin a little bit. From here, let's bring the knees in together. And we can start either just sitting on the heels here or curling the toes and the ball of the foot under. So your choice. We're going to stretch through the feet and ankles eventually. So you can start that by Coming forward and curling all 10 toes under. You can also just sit on your heels here. Checking in again with that spinal alignment. We're just going to incorporate a little torso twist by turning first to the left, swinging that left hand around behind us, planting the fingertips, or maybe using a block here. Right hand comes to the outside of the left thigh. Just pulling that left shoulder open, twisting through the spine. Release that when you're ready, and we'll do the same thing on the second side. Left hand comes to the outside edge of the right thigh. Right hand comes behind you, pulling that right shoulder open. Gently release that, and we'll come back through center. You can give your toes a break if that's really intense. We're going to come into a toe stand next. So we'll curl the toes under again when you're ready. And just walk the hands up toward the body until your knees lift. You're just balancing on the balls of the feet and all 10 toes. Try to notice that connection of all 10 toes to the mat, to the earth, to the ground, wherever you're practicing. And then feel free to challenge your balance here, maybe by bringing your hands up to some blocks or bringing palms together at the heart space. You might even try lifting the arms up and overhead, taking up space, like a little rooted plant, balanced, not rushing. You can also just articulate through the feet by rolling forward and backward. Stretching through the ankles and the toes. And then from here, we'll heel toe the feet to the left and to the right. Come into a nice low squat. I'm going to let my hips sink down, bring my elbows to the inside of my knees. Palms together at the heart space. Noticing this nice opening sensation or external rotation in both hips. Remembering what we talked about last class, about this pose specifically, and many others in the practice being sacred, being ancient, and having thousands of years of relevance to humanity. So this pose might invoke connection. Try to feel stable, feel supported, feel unity with your environment and the earth. When you've had enough here, we can release the hands gently to the mat, or one of my favorite transitions into standing forward fold. Just extending through the knees and bringing the feet a little closer together, somewhere under the hip points. Again, rooting down through the feet here, noticing the connection of all 10 toes to the mat. Feel free to bend into the knees if you need to here, or just bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. You might also just let the hands, head, and neck relax here. Or maybe you'll sway gently left to right. Remember, this is your practice. Make it your own. Maybe picturing the sway of a tree, the movement of grass, whatever comes to mind here. Not rushing, not forcing anything. Slowing down to feel that connection to community, to the earth, to nature and the universe with which you are a part. Okay, from here we'll come back to stillness or bring the palms under the shoulders or to the tops of the thighs or on blocks, wherever you are. We're going to gently root down through the heels, through the ball of the foot, through the toes, Pressing in there, slowly pressing up, curling up, dragging the fingertips along the front line of the body, moving as slowly as you can to full extension at the knees, and then the hips. Finding once again your strong posture, nice neutral spine, pulling the shoulders back. Let's reconnect with the breath. Maybe bringing the hands all the way up and overhead, taking up space, reaching your branches toward the sky or fingers toward the ceiling. You can check in and try a little tree pose here by bending into one leg, sinking your weight into the other, and either using your hands to guide your foot or just bringing your foot to the inside edge of the opposite thigh. Check in with that, find your balance, take up space. It's okay if you fall out, get right back in it. We're not in a hurry here. Just embodying the strength, balance, and wisdom of the trees. When and if you feel good about it, you can go ahead and release that left foot to the mat. Guide your hands slowly back down toward the outside edges of the hips. From here, we're going to step forward in a big step with the right foot. Okay, all 10 toes pointing toward that top edge of your mat. We'll lead with the fingertips and guide the hands all the way up and overhead toward the ceiling, sinking down nice and deep into that right knee. Building strength here, feeling good about it. Let's guide the right hand to the left wrist. Grab that left wrist with your right hand. Pull that left wrist up toward the ceiling and then maybe over to the right, incorporating a little side body stretch here. Good. As you gently guide that back towards center, release the hands. We'll pivot on that back foot to come onto the outside edge. And then we'll bring the palms down parallel to the mat, sinking deep into that right knee for warrior two on the left. Really deep here, building strength, feeling that connection to the mat, to the earth, to the breath. Maybe looking beyond your right fingertips. And then gently cycling that left hand down and the right to frame that right foot. Lower the back knee, come onto the top of the back foot, and shin. So my left foot, left shin are pressed into the mat. And then we'll play around here, just in your low lunge. So feel free to listen to your body. Find out what it needs from this pose. You might sink really deeply into that right hip flexor, really stretching through the left. You might use the hands or blocks just to support you here for a little more passive pose. Or you might gently incorporate movement, but whatever you're doing, make sure you're not forcing it, not rushing it. No judgment against the body. From here, let's extend through that right knee, rolling onto the right heel. Right toes come up toward the ceiling as the hips move back toward that left heel. Feel free to adjust your hands here, bringing them closer to the body, putting them up on blocks, or moving them further away from the body. Again, not forcing any sensation or shape, just noticing. Take your time here. When you're ready to come out, you'll start by bending into that right knee, rolling back onto that right foot. I'm going to move from here into a plank, so feel free to get there how you get there. I'm going to start by curling my left toes under to raise my left knee from the mat. I'll send my right foot back, nice and strong through my plank pose, checking in with my spinal alignment, noticing what I feel and where without getting overwhelmed. You can take a vinyasa here or just send the hips up high and back for downward dog. Bringing the heels somewhere toward the mat. It's okay if they don't touch though. Feel free to find stillness here or bend into one knee at a time. Not forcing anything, just noticing. Staying connected to the breath, that prana, that energy, that life force that connects all beings, human and non-human. When you feel good about it, we'll walk the hands back up toward the feet, come back into that standing forward fold. Go ahead and relax the head, the neck, the shoulders. Take any variation here that you took on the first side, or maybe try something different. Reconnect with the breath. You take a moment just to turn inward again. And then once again, we'll root down through the heels, pressing into all 10 toes. We're going to slowly drag our fingertips along that front edge of the body. Slow as you can go, like you're moving through water. Coming up to full extension in the knees, then the hips. Curling up through the spine. Rolling the shoulders back, lifting the gaze, tucking the chin. Take a nice deep breath and maybe let something go on your exhale. Just bring your fingertips up and overhead, reaching toward the sky or toward the ceiling, taking up space. We'll move into the tree pose on the second side, so feel free to use your hands if you need to do that. We'll ground down through that left foot this time, distributing our weight there. And then we'll gently guide with our hands, our right foot, right heel, up to the inside edge of the left thigh. Whoa, if you fall out, get right back in. Pants are a little weird for this. Maybe bringing your hands up and overhead, reaching your branches toward the sky. Finding a fixed focal point, connecting with your balance, embodying that strength and wisdom of the trees. Spend as much time here as you want, practicing your balance. Maybe trying different versions of this pose by moving your hands to your waist. Whatever works. And when you feel ready, we'll gently release that right foot to the mat. And we're going to do the same thing on the second side here. So we first stepped out with our right foot. This time we're going to take a big step out with our left. First coming into warrior one or high lunge. So all 10 toes pointing toward the top edge of your mat. Leading with the fingertips, guiding them back up and overhead. Reaching your branches here, maybe more like a bush than a tree. Either way, taking up space, feeling strong. Maybe guiding that left hand over to the right wrist. Pulling that right wrist up gently toward the ceiling and then over to the left side. Stretching through the right side body. Noticing what you feel and where. And And then gently guiding that back through center. We'll pivot on that back foot to come onto the outside edge. Bring the hands down to parallel to the mat, sinking deeper into that left knee, building strength here. Through the left leg, left hip. Take your time, notice your change in perspective, maybe looking beyond those left fingertips. And then we'll gently cycle the hands down to frame that left foot. This time lowering the right knee to the mat, coming onto that right shin at the top of the right foot. Go ahead and sink down into this low lunge or take any variation of this pose that your body's asking for. Feeling strong and supported by the earth. Reminding your body it's okay to relax. When you feel good in this pose, come into that hamstring stretch on the second side. First by extending through that left knee, rolling onto the left heel, left toes come up toward the ceiling. Feel free to adjust your hand placement. Try to stay nice and long through the neck, otherwise relax through the shoulders. Feel free to incorporate any blocks or props you might need. Taking your time here on the second side. Reconnect with your breath, reconnect with your mantra. When you're ready, we'll bend into that left knee, rolling back onto the sole of the left foot. From here, I'm going to move back to downward dog, so you can get there however you get there. Feel free to incorporate a vinyasa if that is in your practice today. I'm going to start by curling my right toes under and lifting my right knee from the mat. I'll send my left foot back and hold in a plank pose for just a moment. Checking in with that nice alignment, building strength through the back, through the abdomen, through the shoulders. Remembering what brought you here today. Noticing the sensations of the body without getting overwhelmed. Noticing the distractions in the mind, if there are any, and just letting those go on your exhale. From here, I'm going to send my hips up toward the ceiling to come into that downward dog. Notice if anything's different this time than last time. If not, that's totally okay. Your heels do not have to touch the floor. Feel free to find stillness in this pose or bend into one or both knees. Remember, it's your practice. Make it your own. From here, we're going to move into a pigeon pose. So I'm going to start with my right side first. I'm going to plant my left foot somewhere near the midline of the mat. And I'm going to drag my right toes down the mat and up toward the ceiling for three-legged dog. I'm going to lift my gaze to the space between the palms. I'm going to bend into my right knee. I'm trying to place my right knee somewhere in that space between my palms. From here, I'll walk my left foot back and bring my hips down toward the mat. So before we fold forward in pigeon, it's really important to get grounded and stable in the upright version of this pose. So making sure that you're not rolling to the right, adjusting that degree of flexion at the knee. If you need more intensity in the stretch, move the heel away from the body. And if you need less, move that heel closer toward the hips. So Getting adjusted there, getting stable, getting grounded. Grab your props if you need those. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, we'll fold forward at the hips. Coming down onto maybe a prop or a block, or stacked fists or stacked palms, or a pillow, whatever serves you today. Feel free to make any last minute adjustments. And we'll try to settle into stillness here. Again, just noticing without judgment. Coming back to the sound of the breath, like waves crashing on the beach, or the wind moving through the leaves. A cyclical pattern of life force entering and exiting the body and all living things. Just reminding us that we are nature, not separate from it. We are the earth, not separate from it. And that we have very important responsibilities as conscious beings who are part of the earth. Beyond that oneness to the earth, you might also meditate on that oneness with the universe as a whole. Universal vibration that connects all beings, all consciousness. Meditate on becoming one with that consciousness, that eternal vibration that is the sattvic state in yoga. Try to relax a little deeper into this pose. Remind your body that you are in control. And that it's really important to care for the mind and the body. In order to become stewards of the land and connected to humanity. Notice the connections of your body to the earth, to the mat, the sensations therein. You might take a moment to practice gratitude for the support of the earth. Or maybe just take a moment to turn inward and quiet the mind. Reconnect with the breath. Maybe open the eyes if you have them closed. We're going to very gently move out of this pose. Eventually into this pose on the second side. So let's do so mindfully, really slowly, like you're moving through water. You might start by lifting the head from your prop or your stacked hands, bringing the palms under the shoulders. From here we can press into the palms, extend through the elbows, and come back to the upright version of this pose. Notice if anything's different, including just your stability, your headspace, your connection to the mat. From here, I'm going to lean forward, so I'm going to hinge at the hips a little bit to press into the lower part of my palms. I'm going to curl my left toes under to lift my left knee, left hip, and send my right foot back for plank. Feel free to stay there as long as you'd like, challenging the balance, challenging your mental resilience, building strength through the core and back body. Or just send the hips up high toward the ceiling, toward the sky. Coming into your final downward dog of the practice. Take a moment to pedal through the feet, or maybe just find stillness, whatever your practice calls for today. To move into that pigeon on the second side, I'm going to start by planting my right foot somewhere near the midline of the mat, sliding the left toes down the mat and up toward the ceiling for three-legged dog. I'm going to lift my gaze to between the palms, looking at that space there. I'll bend into my left knee, guide that left knee all the way through to somewhere between those palms, coming down onto that left hip, sending the right foot backward behind me. Get settled into the upright version of this. Remember, not slouching over to the left. Feel free to bring that heel in closer to the body if you need to. Fully extended through that right leg, taking up space. Grab your props if you need them. Check in with your stability in the upright version of this pose, really rooted down through the hips. That's your anchor, your connection to the earth. And then go ahead and grab your block or just walk the hands forward, hinging at the hips, coming onto stacked palms or stacked fists, or your prop or your pillow, with pigeon pose on the second side. If anything distracted you on the first side, let's just notice that and let it go here. I'm going to be quiet so that you can quiet your mind and find stillness. Reconnect with the breath. If you get distracted, just come back to the fullness of your inhale. Maybe let go of something on your exhale. Maybe reflecting on or embodying your mantra. I am nature. I am the universe. I'm grounded through the earth. I am supported by the earth and its abundance. I am connected to all persons, human and non-human. Take as much time as you like on this side. Remind your body it's okay to relax. You are in control of your practice. When you feel ready to come out of this pose, once again, we're going to move mindfully, slow like nature, not in a rush. I'm going to start by bringing my palms under my shoulders and then gently pressing into the heel of my palm, extending through the elbows, walking the hands toward the body, and coming back into the upright version of this pose. Checking in once again with my spinal alignment. Am I open through the chest? Am I rooted down through the earth? Noticing if anything's different now than before, than when I started this pose. And then eventually, bending into that right knee and bringing it forward into a cross-legged seat. Go ahead and recenter yourself on the mat if you need to. We'll start some cool down poses before our final meditation. So this can look like however you want it to. If you are craving some pose that you didn't get in this practice, now is the time to ignore my cues and take those poses. If you want those cues, we can start with a seated forward fold, any version. So you can put your legs straight out in front, about hip width or shoulder width apart. Or you can bend into the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the mat if you're very tight through the posterior chain, the hamstrings, the low back. In this version, we'll just put our arms behind our thighs, relax the head and neck somewhere between the knees, just kind of stretching through the back, relaxing everything. In the other version, where your knees are fully extended, feel free to grab a pillow or a prop, whatever you might need here, if you want to rest your head on something. Otherwise, we'll root down through the sits bones, heels in the mat, connecting to the earth. You might send your hands up and overhead, palms facing one another, and then hinge at the hips to gently bring the hands down somewhere near the feet. Either wrapping your hands around the outside edge of the feet, or maybe just 2 fingers around the big toes to prevent pulling. Or maybe just opening the palms up to the left and to the right of your shins. Relaxing through the head, the neck, and the shoulders. Just allowing your deep inhales to stretch through the back body. And letting go of something you don't need on your exhales. Stay here as long as you'd like. When you're ready to come out, we'll root down through the sits bones again. We'll slowly curl up at planting the tailbone, curling up through the lumbar spine, then the thoracic, and then eventually all the way up through the cervical spine, tucking the chin, rolling the shoulders back. Maybe taking a nice deep breath and letting something go. From here, I'm going to bring my palms together at the heart space and inch my way back down to Shavasana. Move as slowly as you can. Get there how you get there. Before we settle into Shavasana, I'm just going to tuck my knees into my chest. Feel a little stretch again through that outer glute, through the hips, some compression in the hip flexors. Maybe just feeling the warmth of your own embrace, or the whimsy of rocking left to right, challenging your balance, playing around a bit. From here, you might come into Happy Baby or Supta Baddha Konasana, recline cobbler's pose or recline butterfly. You might check in with some figure fours in the hips. Or take any other easy organic movement that your body's asking for. Remember, your body is a part of nature, not separate from it. It's important to honor its needs, to not judge it or its ability, which will change from day to day. Remembering that you are perfect as you are. Perfect, weird part of nature and the universe, not separate. All right, take what you need here, and then we'll meet in Shavasana or any other final meditative posture that you want to take. In Shavasana, I'm going to extend fully through my knees and let my palms just fall open to the left and to the right, settling in once again to my mat, feeling supported by Mother Nature, by the earth. Reconnecting with the breath, that prana, that life force, that energy. And also just the calming effect that breath practice can have on the body and the mind. Take as much time as you'd like here just to reflect on your mantra or absorb the nutrients of today's practice. Maybe to imagine unity and community with all the peoples and non-peoples of the, or non-human persons of the earth. Maybe envisioning Indigenous liberation, which is tied up in the liberation of all peoples, including ours. Maybe envisioning that connection and support for our Indigenous neighbors. As part of a holistic approach to stewardship of the land, and personal and collective care for one another. If you don't know whose Indigenous lands you are practicing from, I would encourage you to check out a website called native-land.ca to find out. I'm going to bring my palms together to rest gently at the third eye. I'm going to do a little land acknowledgement and then close this practice, but I would encourage you to continue meditating after the practice is closed. First, I want to recognize that I am leading this practice from unceded Monongahela and Osage territories, what is now known as Western Canada as part of Turtle Island. I encourage you to find out whose Indigenous lands you're practicing from and how you can connect with their ongoing struggles for liberation, for land back, and for the recognition of their humanity. I also want to recognize that yoga is an ancient spiritual practice coming from the subcontinent of India and Indian culture. And recognize and honor that cultural heritage without appropriation. We also know that yoga functions in many ways for many different people of the world, including as a community. I thank you so much for being part of my community today. I hope you got something you needed here today, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.